to show you how easy it is to make scary drawings with these 6 simple tips. Do your images look kind of boring? Would you like to give it more of a scary, thrilling chill to them? Well, I'm going to show you just how to do that. Hi everyone, Jeff here from Jeffrey Hunt Art, and let's get to it. Okay, so I'm using a Sketchbook Pro today, and I'm also using my custom brushes, which you can find a link for down in the description. So the first tip I'm going to show you is basically it's about balance. So if you want to create a scene that has intensity, or at least makes your audience feel uneasy, then don't draw something straight up and down. Like if I drew this tree, here's a tree. I mean, sure, it's evidently it's a tree, but to make this tree more exciting, what you do is you throw it off balance. So when you're setting up your composition, instead of having a tree that's straight up and down, do it at an angle. Because angles make the brain think, whoa, this doesn't seem right. This doesn't seem safe to me. What is going to happen here? And if you practice this, you'll find that your images overall just become a little bit more interesting to look at. You see the difference between this tree that's slanted versus this tree that is standing straight up and down. I think the one on the left is a little bit more scary, but that's just me. Okay, so the next tip I'm going to show you is basically it's a detailed tip. So let's say I'm drawing an eye. Draw this eye. And again, without a whole lot more detail going on in here, it looks just like an ordinary eye. But we take the same idea, and this time we're going to add a lot of additional line variety. So we're going to really get in and we're going to draw some wrinkles. Make this eyebrow look a little more menacing. There we go. And then, let's see, we take an airbrush. We go here. What we're going to do is we're going to add some shading around this eye. And what we see, or at least what we get, is an eye that looks a little bit more tired, aged, maybe not quite as healthy looking. Which again, what it does is it fools the brain to think, oh, this is pretty scary. I don't know if I want to look at this anymore. Okay, now tip number 3. Tip number 3 is probably the one I use the most. In fact, I think I use it whether I'm doing a scary drawing or not, but exaggeration. Exaggeration of some features. So let's say I'm going to draw monstrous looking tree here. Now trees, organically as they grow, they're never going to grow the same way. They're going to be, there's going to be certain aspects about these trees that are going to kind of go off on their own, and so you can take advantage of that when you're creating your drawing. So if I'm going to make the eyes of this tree, right? They're not going to be completely symmetrical. They're going to be two, different sizes. And it's going to be part of the wood, that makes up the tree. So what I want to do is you want to integrate those human features into, what you understand about the trees themselves. So in essence, you wouldn't have a human-looking face just pop out of nowhere, completely symmetrical and human-looking. You want to give it that inhuman kind of look. Maybe we'll make this a little more menacing by adding points to the eyes. And then, for the mouth, it's not going to be like a mouth that looks like it's going to fit. We're going to make this really big. Then we're going to add these big pointy teeth. Remember, the material that you're working. This is, for all intents and purposes, this thing's made out of wood. So, wood cracks and breaks over time and splinters, and so you can take advantage of that and add those splintering looking detail to like I'm doing with these trees, and make it look like it's been munching and crunching over time. And I don't know, maybe he needs to go to see the dentist, hey. And then we draw the roots, we'll draw those even bigger. And the more you play with the sizes of things, the more of the illusion you can create. Having some great eldish power. There we go. And there you go. So you have a really mean looking tree. And to recap, what I did was I started drawing the base of the tree, and then when I got to the actual monster piece, that's when we started adding a lot of exaggeration of humanistic type features to make it more monstrous. And of course, adding dark black to places, that will kind of help really it'll help with the rendering and where your shadows are going to be, but you can really place emphasis on those, like the teeth here. That's where we want to give a sense of danger, in around his mouth. So it's like if you're walking through this woods, just don't walk near the face. It could be bad for you. All right. All right, so the next tip I want to talk about is given the illusion again of harm, right? So, like if say I draw, I guess today's theme is going to be trees. So here we have a nice, calm-looking tree in the distance, right? Not real good as a character for a horror drawing, but watch what happens when I start adding sharp edges and thorns, right? So now this once friendly looking tree begins to not look so safe and friendly. So now we've added all these points and jagged edges. And again, because when the human brain looks at something that doesn't have edges, you think that, oh, I'm safe, I'm perfectly safe. But as soon as you start adding points to things, now the brain's like, whoa, that could hurt me, that's dangerous. And you start to feel uneasy, or you create a way for your viewers to feel uneasy when they're looking at your work. The next thing I'm going to show you, well, actually, let's do another example. So let's say I'm doing a rock, right? There's a rock, and we got some grass. Maybe again on the surface, it's just a rock. But watch what happens when I start adding like some really sharp-looking points to this. And you could do this with anything. Like create a monster. Really go to town, giving them some horns or thorns or things that aren't. Again, we don't want to be symmetrical unless you're doing a realistic piece. Then symmetry is probably more important. But if we're doing anything horror related, anything fantasy related, take advantage of being non-symmetrical with your drawings, because then you'll get a lot more variety and you'll get a lot more interest in your pieces. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to show you, let's clear this off. So creating a good horror scene is also about creating a sense of doom and gloom and drama. So we can use weather to do that, which weather is a great storytelling element. So we're going to take Mr. Friendly Tree again. I'm not trying to spend a lot of time on this particular tree. I just need to get the actor out here. Come on. And there we go. Okay, so here's a tree. So what we're going to do is on a new layer, right? Now what I'm going to do is let's say I want to have fog be the storytelling element. So let's clean this up a little bit. We can go in here, and I'm using my cloud brush. But by adding fog, now we have a friendly tree, but it's in a mysterious, maybe slightly dangerous locality now. The other thing that we can do is we can make it rainy. So, this ruler tool. We're just going to add just a little bit darker. Okay, so we have some raindrops here. Let me change the angle a little bit. And we can take our eraser. It drops up a little bit. Just by adding rain, we've added a whole dimension to the storytelling element of this, making this scene a little bit scarier, a little bit more uneasy for the view to look at. So that's my take on some horror tips to make your drawings a little bit scarier. I hope you found this helpful, and let me know in the comments if you have any questions or if there's anything else you'd like to know. Other than that, have a great day.